All right. Hello, hello. Live stream number 2. We will get going here in just 1 second. Making sure our audio's up. If anybody is watching, please make a comment, say something, just so I know that the everything's working, and we will get going here in about 1 minute. I cheat and have my phone here so I can read comments easier than the screen. Tim's coming to let me know if the audio's going. How are we looking, Tim?
I can hear you good.
All right. Good to know. Okay.
Light's good, sounds good.
Cool. So I can get this pulled up here. Actually, this is streaming on YouTube and Facebook. I'm going to pull up Facebook. So if you want to chat, you can do it on YouTube, and I'll come back and answer the questions afterwards. But I'll try to watch the Facebook chat here so we can do some live questions and answers. There we go. All right. Hey, Tim, would you do me a favor? There's a tray in the pen trays, or the pen in the office.
Huh?
One of them should be labeled Fordite. Will you see if you can bring me that, or at least a few?
Okay.
All right, guys, look who we got already. I'm on Facebook, by the way, so if you want to chat, go to the Turner's Warehouse Facebook page. But we've already got a few people here. Jody, Lee, Brent, Steve, Tyler, Robert. Thanks for joining me, guys. Today I'm going to do Turning Fordite. So Fordite's a really cool material. It's been gaining popularity a lot lately. I know Ryan Frankenberry has a group just dedicated to Fordite pen blanks. There's a couple other guys that just do tons with Fordite that they're doing amazing stuff. So I thought I would do a live stream here and kind of show how to turn it. It's not your normal material, so I thought it'd be a good way to talk about that and show you a couple things there. Now, if you're new to it and wondering what is Fordite, that's a good question. That's a generic name. It's also called Detroit agate by some people. First it was used really popularly in jewelry, and it still is. If you go to art shows and jewelry shows, you'll see all kinds of people using Fordite stuff. And what it is it's just layers of paint. Now this one I've drilled out, but you can see it's an odd shape. Probably the shape of the pan that caught the drippings. But these usually come in chunks and pieces that are just a pan shape where it would drip it, and then they pop it out and throw it away, or in this case, sell it for big money, which is funny because it's essentially trash to them, but like gold to us. So it's layers of paint. Now with that, there's a few things you don't know. You never know if there's dirt in between layers. You never know if there was grease dripped in the pan. You never know if there was chunks of crap, from whatever dripped in the pan. So Fordite is a mystery. It's almost like a real material. Thank you. In the sense that you don't know what you're getting. It could be covered in dirt, it could be covered in grease, whatever. Now the beauty of Fordite, I'll do a overhead here, is how it looks. So it's layers of paint you can see on the side, but then when you rotate it, you get those cool surface shots, and you just never know what's going to come about. Like on this particular pen, you can see here there was like some kind of imperfection, which is what you want, and it caused like I don't know if I'd say knurling, but like it caused a bump in it, which leads to really cool lines. So with Fordite, often you want to look for, zigzags and stuff, but you never know. I've cut a bunch of this over the years, and it looks perfectly straight, and then I cut it and split it apart, and there's these awesome waves and stuff, so you just never know what's in the pan or in the block, so it's kind of cool. But these are really nice pens. They feel really good because it's paint, it's soft. It has a good texture to it, and they really sell well. If you're selling pens or giving them away, people will love these. But back to the the Fordite itself is, you know, it's layers of paint over time and over time. So there's no quality control for the blank. There's no rhyme or reason of how it happened other than it just caught the excess. And so you might have Fordite blow up on you and just come apart, or the layers might just literally chip off. A lot of times the top layer, you can kind of flick it and peel it off. So you can't turn it like a normal blank, a piece of wood or a piece of Alumilite or something. So you got to take a little care. And there's just a few little things that will really help you do that. So that's what we're going to do today. Long intro, I know. Here's a really cool, this is a Fordite knurl pen. One of my favorites, the gunmetal knurl. That's such a cool look, and you get those long lines. But that's what we're going to be doing. Now today I'm going to make some Monarch size blanks, pretty standard stuff. I like to do Monarch Grandes. And let's see. Braxton, what's up? You can, of course, you can cast the stuff, you can glue it up. And I did bring, I was messing with this after the last live stream. I glued up, this was the cutoff of my micarta that I made last week. And I glued that up with some segmenting material. This is the 2mm that we have in Turner's warehouse. And then these were cutoffs of some other Fordite blanks. And I thought it would look cool because you'd get the micarta, which kind of has a Damascus look in this black and white. And then you'll get the layers of paint. So if we have time and you guys want, we can make this round and kind of see how it's going to look. And the cool thing is you can glue this stuff up just like any other material. You can cut it, sand it, you can angle it, you can put it flat, whatever. This one, just based on the size of what I had, this kind of made sense to do the two end caps with the middle piece being the micarta. So we'll check that out. So what I want to do is kind of just talk about glue ups. Now it doesn't really take much, anything different than a normal glue up. The main thing you want to do is, just like anything, you want to be really careful to cover your tube in glue almost to the point where it's just dripping off, because you don't want any open space in there. Open space in Fordite, just like most things, is your biggest enemy. And if you're turning it and you've got gaps in your glue and your tube, once it starts to get really thin, this material being so soft, this material will actually expand, just like there's other materials that'll do it, but this does it the worst. Kind of like ebonite, if you've turned really thin ebonite, it'll expand and you'll hear snapping, and you'll hear snap, snap, snap. And usually if you don't stop before the fourth or fifth snap, you'll hear snap, 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 and you're thinking to yourself, what's that snapping? It pops apart. And it's just that is expanding, and it's probably slapping on your tool or something, because it's like a balloon on or a tire on a rim ballooning out. And it's so thin it does that. And if you don't have glue fully covering your tube, adhering to the Fordite, you'll get those little pockets that'll just kind of, and once it expands and catches, it'll chip it. And usually you won't have just a little missing piece. Usually it'll separate your whole blank. So it'll take whatever layer that is, and it'll just separate it apart, and you'll have halves. Now, the positive thing, if you can find the pieces, is you can usually glue it back together, and because it's already on a line, you don't have any flaws really. Like, it's just put back together the exact same way. So it's not always, you know, the death of the blank. Obviously you don't want it to happen, but if it does happen, try to find your pieces. And usually they are big pieces, and you can glue it back together. And what I do in that case is I just smother it with CA, put the piece in real tight, and I rubber band the crap out of it, let that cure, and then I just turn off all the rubber bands and all that. So if you do break them, it's not the end of the world. All right. Hey, we got old Zach Higgins, the king of the live stream. Hey, Zach, check this out. Side view, top view, front view. Zach, let me thank Zach, because Zach answered a lot of my questions on getting the live stream set up and how to work it. He probably was like, how does Chad not know how to do any of this crap? but I asked him a million questions and he was super helpful. So thanks, Zach, for doing that. And Zach does them every Wednesday and I think Friday sometimes. So if you want to watch good ones, I'd probably do that. But we'll get there eventually. So let me show you a real quick glue up. Now, this isn't going to be anything earth-shattering because I'm just gluing a tube in a blank. These are Monarch tubes, so they're 27/64. It's a little awkward here being on the lathe, but let's go overhead so I can show you. So I like to, normally I don't really glue near as heavy as I do with these. So I like to put a lot of glue on. I circle the tip here and I just keep rotating it until so it doesn't drip off. And then I just make sure it's smothered, and when I'm inserting it here, I can watch that there's glue all the way around. And then, I don't know if you can see, but a lot of glue came out the top. So I'm pretty confident in that one. And then of course, I'll hit it with accelerator just to stop the dripping and let that sit. Now I wouldn't turn this right away, even though I accelerated the outside. I would give it a little while to fully cure inside. But for the magic of live streaming, I have another couple of blanks already ready. These are glued and tubed. I've flattened them. I used the disc sander with the sanding jig to flatten these. Mostly because, like I talked about with chipping and turning, you don't necessarily want to use an end mill, especially an aggressive end mill like a carbide end mill. If you hit that just wrong or catch the layer just right, you're going to peel it off of there and you'll just mushroom out your blank real quick. So I wouldn't do that. Now, these are ready, but we're not going to turn them right away. So I'm gonna turn these TBC when we get there, but the first thing I want to do is prep the blank. One is rounded almost on there on the Fordite, not on the middle, but I just kind of prepped it to see how it was all glued together, make sure I didn't have any gaps and everything looked good. With these, we don't want to have these sharp edges and our tool coming right into that sharp edge, because that's a recipe to peel the layers. And this feels like a really tight piece. A lot of times those, like I said, those top layers just come right off. But you can see this one has a cool little bump right there. So hopefully when we get in further, it'll be exaggerated, but you never know. Now, what I'm going to do to prep this is I'm going to use this sander. Now, what's really cool, so this is a new product that we're working on here at the shop. It's just a sanding disc, but it's made to go on your lathe on standard jaws. So if you have any lathe with a chuck, you could use this disc. Now, these aren't out yet, and I hate to show it when they're not available yet, but they'll be available very, very soon. We've been testing them for a little while, and we've finally said they're perfect, they're awesome. And so you just lock it in essentially, and then it just runs perfectly true. These are made in a way far beyond the capabilities of the wood lathe. These are machined in a way that is 100% precise, so there's no wobble and no, I don't know the right term, no play. Right here is the same all the way around, so they're just awesome. And I don't know if this camera's showing it, but that thing is spinning 2,000 RPMs. And you can't even tell it's moving. So anyway, very cool, very good stuff. Now, a word of caution, this is paint and it's dust, which dust on its own, if it's wood dust, is terrible. Paint's even worse. Do not breathe this crap. Have a good ventilated area. Of course, you know all the standard stuff, ventilated area, moving, wear a respirator. I'm gonna use this. This is the new little Airlight Pro. I made a post about this yesterday. These are super cool. They're light, and what I like about it is you can replace the inside here really easily, and it feels like I'm wearing my big 3M respirator, but it's not heavy. So like it feels like I'm breathing through that and it's covering, but it's not near as heavy on my face. So I'm gonna put this guy on guess I gotta finish talking before I do it. I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna round this, and I'm gonna just show you how I use the sanding disc to round it. And I am gonna actually turn on my dust collector to catch some of the dust, because this will make a cloud of dust in here. It'll cover all the cameras and everything else around. So I'm gonna turn on the dust collector. It'll be a little noisy for a sec. Actually, I'll turn off the mic while I do it, and I'll just show you basically how I'm gonna round it. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hold my blank, I'm gonna hold my square edge to the wheel, and I'm gonna rotate it, and I'm gonna keep rotating it. Now, if you're nervous about overdoing it, you can put your bushings right here on your blank, just to kind of give you an eyeball so you don't overdo it. You want to get it really close, but you don't want to, you're not trying to do the whole finish work on this. You don't want to try to round it all the way to the bushings. You're not going to do a good job of that. It's just too hard. But you just want to get it rounded as close as you can. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Normally I would go a little further. For the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it there. What you can see is I've taken off all the square. This lathe is running. This thing is very quiet, and sometimes I forget it's even running, especially if I have headphones on. But I just rounded the corners off. You could definitely go quite a bit further because you can see how much room I still have to the bushing. But we'll go ahead and, for demonstration purposes, we will go ahead and turn it this way. Maybe you guys get to see a blow up, I don't know. I hope not, just for the record. All right, anything, any questions come up so far? Let me see here. 45-degree jig for the bandsaw makes that even easier. That's true. And that actually, you bring up a great point. If you shave off the edges of your blank, you can actually use that material in casting. So you don't have to waste it so much, so to speak, by sanding it off. I like to save everything I cut off of these because they look cool. And sometimes I give it to jewelry friends, sometimes I throw it in resin, but it's cool material, so why waste it? So excellent point, Brick. His name's Sean, but Brick is better. All right, so I need a dead center. I'm going to turn these TBC. TBC is turning between centers. If you have any questions on that, let us know. But basically, we eliminate the mandrel by turning with these little guys that fit right in our tube, and they go right on our live and dead center. All right. That was a good comment. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, this stuff, so before I learned, I guess I wasn't smart enough the first time, man, I had like a cloud of dust. Now, luckily I try to wear a respirator all the time, but this stuff gets everywhere. There'll be Fordite dust on every inch of everything. So definitely want to make sure you take care of that. Now, I'm going to turn this between centers. And I'm actually going to use my Easy Wood tools. I'm using a mini here. This is my favorite size. I think for pen turning and most of the stuff I do that's small, this works really well. The key, ever since the negative rake came out, is I use the negative rake because it's the least aggressive, it's the least impactful on the blank, and it allows me to take small light cuts. Now, unlike last week when I dropped my Easy Wood tool and chipped it and broke it, this one should be a little better. So hopefully this will go a little better. I'm going to turn this relatively fast, but I'm going to keep it under real good control. And you can see already the little shavings popping off. Now they're not whole shavings because the blank isn't perfectly round. Once we get round, we should actually be getting clean cuts. Tim, anything you've noticed?
No, sounds good, looks good.
Good. It's just me and Tim running the show today. So if he has to come in and ask me something, no problem at all. But you see that? We actually have shavings, which is nice because this is paint. Keep in mind it's not you know, wood or stone or anything, but we can already see our layers coming out here. So it's working pretty good. So I'm about 2,700. Once I get this round, I'll be cranking it up. Yep, I'm already getting longer ribbons, which is nice. Last week I was pretty much turning dust with my broken tool. Oh, so better tighten that up a little bit. If you have not tried TBC, it is a great way to turn pens. Personally, I think you get better quality and you get a better turn out of it. So, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but you can see these ribbons are starting to get longer and longer. And basically that's just the cut of the blank here. As I go around it, I get a ribbon as long as the loop is connected. So even though I'm going against the layers, I get that there. Oh, this is a good opportunity here. So, oh, there we go. I don't know, this little, I don't know what to call it. It's basically like where the cutting edge is coming around and then it's scraping the paint up. And it leaves this really odd little, I don't know, texture, I guess you'd call it. It almost looks like the paint is just ripped up and chipped up, which it kind of is. What I've noticed is you can turn that down really close, and then your last pass, you can change the angle of the tool and go the other way of whichever way you were going, and usually it'll clean that up. So it's nice to be able to do that right at the end when you're cleaning that up. All right, any questions coming up? Shaking hands? Are my hands shaking, Dad? Didn't seem like it, but maybe. All right. So I'm going left to right. And if I go right to left, give that a little more of a skew angle. You can see the ribbons it's throwing. We'll stop this and see if it took away that chipping I was talking about. Yeah, so there's still a little there, but it's far less. So that cleaned it up a little bit. Let me see. There we go. that too much? There we go. Trying for you guys here. Okay, there we go. That's a little closer. Now you can see that stuff. So those little black dots are what I was talking about. So if you just change the angle and go a different direction, you can usually clean that up pretty good. Now, you probably noticed I'm moving real slow. I'm taking real light passes. And normally I'm pretty aggressive with stuff, but with this, it doesn't pay off. You'll break it. So I'm going to take it slow. I want to get this whole thing round before I start moving quicker. And even then, I probably won't go that fast. But you can always put CA on here. I always say CA is cheap insurance. So if you want to put CA on here, it won't hurt a bit. Francisco, the weather out here is hot. It's like 98 this weekend. We went from like cool to hot in a couple of days. Being real careful not to make any sudden movements, any hits of that. Are we not focusing here? Sorry, I just hit the camera. Looks like we're a little out of focus on that one. All right, look at that. My ribbons are getting quite a bit bigger. They're getting longer and bigger. And I know everyone hears us talk about the negative rake a lot and how much better it is on acrylics, and on hard acrylics it's night and day. On Fordite blanks, it is a game changer. And if you are going to turn these very often, it's well worth investing in an easy wood and some negative rake insert. Ooh, did you hear that tap? That was something in the paint. Let's see if it's gone. It might have come out. I hit something right in here. Let's see if we're in focus now. So, yeah, I can't, oh maybe, I don't know. There's a little bump in the paint right there. I hit something and it tapped my tool. So it was probably a little stone or imperfection of some sort, but there you go. We can now see we're already getting some cool look out of this. Very cool. And if you are wondering how to finish these, we will talk about that very soon. So you can see, even though I'm going really, really slow and I'm stopping and talking, this is going quickly. It's not like it's going to take all day. I don't know if you heard that. There was another little click there. In that same area, there must be something in the paint. All right. So let's look at this thing. All right. Do not know why that camera is having trouble focusing, but anyway, here's a really cool thing about Fordite. So you can see these layers, you can see the layers here. Let's just make a little impression here. I'll just keep it in one area. Trying not to go deeper than I think the pen will be. It's a lot like Spectraply or Damascus, like you've seen in knife making. But you see, you get that cool little design there, and you get that with the layers. So it's really cool to be able to shape it and do that kind of stuff. So now I'm going to go ahead and taper to my bushing. I'm getting down there enough. I want to really listen at this blank. Make sure nothing's clicking or tapping. There's something in there. I can feel a little tick every now and then of something. All right. So now that I'm getting closer, I'm gonna go the other way on my end here. Ooh, there's a little tap. Hopefully I got glue in there. So I just backed off that end. Alright, I'm gonna have to figure out that camera. There we go. So that's looking pretty cool. Seems to focus when I give it a solid background. Alright. So I'm going to finish turning this up and then we will go to the next step. I'm getting real nice ribbons off of here now. Now I'm going to probably have some cleanup to do on this. I can hear a lot of little clicking and clacking, and it's probably that chipping. But if we can get this camera to focus here, so you see that it looks kind of dirty. That's just the paint has chipped. If I just sand with the grain, so to speak, the grain. Now I normally sand these wet, of course, but I'm just trying to make sure this will clean up really well. And it looks like it's sanding out, no problem. So I'd actually sand this without bushings, but I just want to double check that little spot. There is a little black spot right there, something in the lines of it. And then we don't really have any movement on there. So let me turn that just a little more. Oh, you know what happens when you say a little more? Just a little more, right, Tim?
Uh-oh.
When it blows up. All right, that looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to look this over, make sure it's the basic shape of what I want here. Looks pretty good. This piece is cool. It's not as cool as it could be if it had some really crazy lines or something, but there again, you just never know. So you got to turn them and see. But this one, boop, boop, boop. So you see some of that stuff I got to sand out right there. Where it looks crackly and dirty, that's the paint chip. So we're going to get that here with the wet sand. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and wet sand this. And the secret to wet sanding is there is no secret. I just wet sand this like any other acrylic blank. I do try to keep it cool so it doesn't get hot. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bump right there. A little goober in the paint there. Oh, look at that. I would recommend blowing off your lathe so you don't dump in a bunch of shavings like I just did there. But you live and learn. Get the paper. Literally just had the sandpaper and it's gone. There it is. Okay. So I'm just using 800. I use 600 and 800 a lot. We have a pack at Turner's of 600 and 800, and that's because that's pretty much what I use in all the videos. So people asked for it, so we made that available. And I'm going to turn this at around 800 to start with here. Keep it wet. You're going to see gray dripping from the sandpaper. It's going to be dripping off. The nice thing about doing it wet, like many other things, is you won't have the dust flying up from the sanding. So keep it wet for that reason, and I think it just makes a better shine, a better finish. And that's just my opinion, so who knows. I do stop it every once in a while, kind of like wood, and go with the grain. And this is how you'll get rid of those little dips and bumps in the Fordite. I don't know what you just said, Sean. I'd have to read it a couple times to make sense of it. You can kind of see with the wet here how much shine you can put on this. Some people I think do CA finish these. I don't ever do it. I polish just with my zona paper, and that's it. I think the feel of Fordite is cool because it's like soft and cool versus like a hard CA finish. So I kind of don't think it needs it. Oh, see? I always have to forget something. I didn't bring zona paper over here. Hey Tim, if you're watching, can you grab me some zona paper? I used the last of it last week. I forgot to grab it. Whoa, you guys want to see something cool? I just noticed that in the show, the new showroom there. This video is playing live right there. Tim must have put it on. Oh, right there. How cool is that? Sorry, it's the little things that are amusing. Tim, are you there?
I am.
Can you grab me some Zona?
Yeah.
The beauty of a live stream. I totally forgot to bring some. Thank you.
Yep. I'll take it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim, thank you. You want to take a bow? So this is a great product placement here that I planned out. Zona paper. If you haven't used it, you should. And that's not me trying to sell you. It's just great stuff. It comes in these sheets, like 8.5 by 11. And I just cut it into strips. And I cut the strips into little squares. And I do a lot of pen turning and turning in general here. And a sheet like this, a pack like this will last me months. And I'm pretty, I go through it pretty fast because I don't like to waste my time sanding and polishing if the paper's no good. So I cut it about that big. And I'm good to go. So product placement over. Wasn't really. All right, so I'm going to go back to this. And I don't know, you don't want to be super aggressive on this. You want to just, whoop, got some water in there. All right. Hopefully you all are getting back to normal and the pandemic is not affecting you too bad now, even though it's still crazy. All right. So I'm just making sure I don't have any lines from my tools. Definitely don't want to sand in any lines. Try to keep it moving well. Keep it wet. And even with this blank being relatively straight, this is going to be a super cool pen. I've never seen a Fordite pen that didn't look great. It just doesn't happen. I'm trying to sand this under so you guys can see it. It's a little more difficult. I don't know if you guys could see it last week, but I had metal pans that I keep my water in. And I've had those metal pans. Those were like a takeout container that I got years ago from something. And I think it was here at the shop or the old shop. And I've used those metal trays for like 4 years. And I just filled them up with water, rinsed them out, whatever. And last week I was like, I know I filled up my water. Why is it almost empty? And when I was done, the whole lathe was all wet and it had seeped under everything. I had to like clean it all. And the pan had finally like cracked from all the picking it up and setting it down and filling it with water. And it was even a double. It was 2 pans and it leaked all over. So I had to get rid of it. Threw it away. So now I got to use this plastic one, which will probably last a long time too. But I prefer, a lot of people spray it or drip it. I like to have the water here so I can just let it drip and drop all over. And I don't have to worry about getting everything covered up. I do clean the bed fairly regularly and lube it and all that because no matter how careful you are, the water will get all over. All right, let's see. Let's see how that looks. Just gonna grab a paper towel here. That's supposed to go here. There we go. So what you'll notice is that it's smooth and flat, but it is not shiny. It's kind of a dull finish, and that's because I just sanded it. I haven't done the polish. what's kind of crazy is, whoa, almost dropped my tool again. You'll see these little black bits here. I hope you can see them. It just doesn't look clean. It almost looks like a mess up in the paint, which literally it is. But I can keep sanding there till it looks good, because keep in mind that's a layer of paint. So if I sand through the layer, like look at that, it's like sanding away. So I can keep going. Now I want to rotate it, obviously. I don't want to sand a flat spot. But I can sand through that, or at least further to where it looks cool. So that's the beauty of this whole thing, is you can kind of tailor it how you like it. And I do have a couple little wavy lines, which looks cool. They're not huge. I wouldn't say this is like the most spectacular piece, but it does look cool. All right. And all those little black dots I was talking about, the little tear up pieces, those are all gone. So we are clean. Put some water on that. And it's looking cool. Now I'd probably keep sanding a little more here. I'm gonna actually do it with the lathe on, and then I'll just go back real quick and hand sand it. Alright, let's see if it got through it there. Yeah, it's kind of turning silver now. So that green or black, whatever it is going away, and it's turning silver. But we're going to actually call it there so I can show you, finish this up. I'm going to use Zona. I'm doing the 3M Zona paper, going from green to white. The beauty of this is it's only six pieces instead of, like, traditional micro mesh is 9. So for me, if I can save a little bit stepwise, I'm going to do it. Now I want to keep this wet again. I sped up the lathe to 1300. I gotta remember to take that zone out of stock. Alright, the lathe is going. So I usually do the first couple grits. This is the nature of the paint. It's kind of like if you sand metal or something, it looks all dirty and gross. So you may only use this for a couple of blanks and call it good, because you don't want to get that crap on your other blanks. Now if you remember a minute ago, the blank was flat and smooth, but it wasn't shiny. And this will be just 2 grits of Zona. Let me go with the grain here. So after just 2 grits, I'll dry it off. And it's already starting to shine pretty well. So this stuff works really well, really quickly. I rarely add polish. Now sometimes you do if you just can't get a shine out of something for some reason. I do have Michael Hardin Shine Juice coming, because I've heard, I think that's what it's called. Sorry if it's not. We are going to carry it in the store because I've had a lot of people recommend it to me. And so we're going to test it out here on a live stream. But we will have that available soon too. So I'm just keeping this wet, keeping it moving. I'm already to my fourth one. And you'll notice as you progress, just like with sandpaper, even though these are just polish, you get less and less debris. We still have the gray, but we get less and less debris as we go along. And you know, with a Fordite blank, if I only got one blank out of a piece of Zona, I'd be okay with that, because usually these are more valuable blanks and you want them perfect. So no big deal. And look at that water. That was clean water when we started here. All right. Sorry, it's so hard to hold it from below. Okay, so finishing up here. And I am going to turn that other blank if anybody wants to stick around. I'll leave everything running here, but just to show you this kind of thing wrapped up here a little bit. That'll be the after live, but it'll be a continuation of this. And I am going to post these as videos. I'm going to edit out all this chit chat that I'm doing and post these as videos if you ever want to watch these later without the commentary. All right, so let's take a look. Oh, I should do my... So if you drop the white zona, the polished side feels smoother than the back. It's like a meshy material on the back. So I just have to feel both sides to determine which is which, because they look the same. All right. Okay, overhead. Let me dry this puppy off, and I don't want to rub it and scratch it, but that thing is pretty shiny. Hopefully you can see it on there. Has a real good look to it. Now, in pen turning, I'm done as far as this goes, excuse me, of making a pen. I'm not going to put any other finish on it. I wouldn't use any other polish at this point because I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. It's all cold from the water because the paint like takes the temperature well. So it's kind of a cool thing. CA would be fine. You could put CA over it, but it'll definitely make it feel more plasticky, and it'll definitely have a potential to crack because you've got a soft material underneath. This stuff is soft, so it's a little forgiving that way. But that is the pen blank. Done. Now, a couple of things I was going to show you with the other blank. Reset here. So I made this blank, like I said, with scraps. Basically all these pieces were just cut-offs of other stuff, and I just put them together. The cool thing about this is when you're doing your blanks, you can drill and cut these pieces ahead of time. So like this was a little shaving of a blank, probably 1/8 of an inch thick, I don't know. And I just went ahead and drilled out a bunch of these when I was drilling one day. And then I drill out, usually I cut these into squares. This is a little weird shaped piece, but I drill these out and I want to sand them. I sand them on the little disc. But what's cool is when you're doing this, let's see if I got a tube here. You can put your pieces on your tube and kind of mock it up and see what you're making. And what's really cool is once you get it kind of set, I don't try to build it from the middle out. I will glue one end on, and how I do that is I'll put the piece on like this, I'll put the glue around it, and then I'll pull the piece into it. And the reason I do that is then I don't have glue on the inside creating a curve. Because if I put glue on and then push the piece over it, there's going to be this shape from the tube to the material. If you glue it on the outside and then pull it into it and hit it with the accelerator, this part's glued on, but then the rest is clean, and I can get a nice flat, flush fit with my other pieces. So then I can start lining them up how I want and see what I want to do. You can cut pieces and twist them, you can angle them, whatever. So that's how I glued this up, is I basically knew these two were the same size pieces on the ends here, and my two inlay pieces are the same thickness. So I measured that, and then I just cut off a tiny bit of this one because it was just barely too long, and I was able to fit it up almost perfectly. Now if you measure these, they're not the same, but I'm okay with that. But it's nearly perfect. in my view. Without doing any measuring and cutting and this and that, I just was able to line it all up and kind of eyeball it, and knowing that those are the same on the outside, it works out well. And it usually looks pretty cool. I think we should find out. So, I forgot to ask Tim. We were going to do a giveaway of some Turner's Warehouse swag. Like, we've got some cool pocket knives and hats. So I need a way to do a giveaway here. What do you guys think? Should we do like a... I'll think about that while we're turning here. Somebody asked, is TBC a preference, or what did you say, Sean? Just a preference, or the reason behind it? It is a preference. It's I think it's a better quality. I think you don't risk bending your mandrel or turning your blanket around, because TBC bushings have a 60-degree cone in the back, and these are 60-degree on the live center and dead center. So as long as everything is true how it's supposed to be made, once you push this on here, even though it's solid because it's perfectly centered. Tim tried to sneak in, fail. Hey, what should we do for the giveaway? How should we determine a winner?
We can't do the biggest smart aleck because that's probably me.
Yeah, you're an employee, you can't win.
That's true. Well, Shauna and Shauna have been watching. I don't know if they're both still watching. They're kind of smart alecky.
Yeah.
They throw a lot of shade.
How about this? Boy, this is tough. You think it's easy to give stuff away, but I guess, and I said we wouldn't do this, but we can just pull out of the comments this time,
Sure,
like do a random.
but
So everybody name a color. This will be tricky. Everybody name a color, like normal colors: red, white, blue, yellow, green, whatever the 5 colors are. Red, white, blue, black, green. Red, white, blue, black, green. Name a color in the comments. We will draw a color, and everybody who's got that color will spin the wheel, because you guys know I love the spinny wheel. And we haven't been using the spinny wheel near enough. Tim and I have been running around here like crazy. So we'll get the spinny wheel out. We'll put everybody who got the right color on the spinny wheel, and we'll shoot a quick video, and we'll give away like a pocket knife, hat, or shirt, or something cool. And we have some new Turner's Warehouse shirts coming, blue ones. Did we get blue?
You told me.
I don't even remember. It was 2 days ago. How can I remember that far?
I thought they were tan with different color.
They're either blue or tan, but we don't remember. But we'll give something cool away, a couple things, and we'll just kind of make it fun. I'm going to turn this one and see how it looks. So this is just glued by hand. I didn't use any clamps. I used Mercury thick. I glued the pieces on one by one and sprayed them, and then I sprayed the whole thing. So, and it sat overnight. I did this yesterday. See you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there again, I didn't round this fully, but I would have rounded it more had I thought about it. But let's turn it and see how it looks. Even if we don't completely finish it, this will be cool to see. All right, we got a bunch of blues going. Everybody's going to pick blue. It'll make it easy. It'll be a random color pick as well. All right, we're going to crank this up. 4,000 RPMs on this little lathe. If anybody is wondering, I know I talk about it enough, this is the Record Power Herald lathe. Right. And if you're wondering about the segmenting material that I mentioned, this is aluminum and plastic. And I've done a couple videos on it. Zach at NV Woodworks did a video on it. It is super easy to use, and what's really cool is you get these little lines, and once you turn them, you get these nice shiny lines, and then the black material in the middle there. So you can use these in really simple ways to really add something to it. Even if you took a blank, cut each end off and put some segmenting material and glued the same piece back on, those lines really add to the look of it, and it makes it look really elevated as far as the quality. So this is looking pretty cool already. I hope the way these look stay cool with the middle, because this is, again, this is micarta, the segmenting material, aluminum, plastic, aluminum, and Fordite. All right, let's keep going. And I'm actually going to grab my number 1 here, because this is not a negative rake, and I want to use it for the micarta. You know what, I take that back. No, it's not. I was thinking maybe it is a negative rake. I couldn't remember. It's so small I can barely see it. All right, let's see how this looks. Alrighty. So the segmenting material, if you just search on the website segment or segmenting, it'll pull up a picture with a couple of pens that have it. It's in there, and there's 2mm and 3mm. Eee, look how cool that is. All right, let's keep going. I at least want to get this round. Probably won't do a finish on this one tonight because it is going to take a CA finish for sure. The segmenting material, I would recommend go watch my other videos on it because it's really cool, and being that there's 2 thicknesses, you can almost match your blade sometimes with a table saw or a chop saw, and you make a cut and then you just glue the material in to replace it. Here's the other crazy thing to remember in this. The micarta is insanely hard compared to the Fordite. So you've got this crazy hard material with some plastic and aluminum, which is not hard, it's pretty easy. And then you've got the soft on the end. So the Fordite wants to turn real quick and easy and, you know, cut off, no problem. But this stuff in the middle, man, this micarta, it is a rock. Forgot to turn off the doorbell. But I don't know, it kind of looks, It's very busy. What do you guys think of this? Thumbs up, thumbs down? It's very ornate. I think it's going to take just a flat black kit or something to make it look good because this is kind of busy. A lot going on. That's one little flat spot of CA right there. So pretty cool. All right, well, I think I'm going to call it here because I'm not going to finish this tonight. I don't really feel like doing a CA finish. You ever feel that way? So hopefully this helped. Couple key things on that Fordite. Sand it round, sand away as much as you can, or cut away if you want to save the shavings. It's a huge help. CA is your friend. Like I always say, CA is cheap insurance when you're turning. And negative rake for Fordite. If you keep the negative rake handy, you'll blow up a lot less blanks. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it happens a lot less. So if you have any questions, let me know. That's really the gist of it. It's pretty simple. You just can't go at it with a big old gouge or, you know, big aggressive carbide tool, or you will blow it up. That is for sure. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, Brick pointed or put up the link. That's cool. Thank you for doing that. Any blanks that look like Damascus? Wife loves her Damascus knives. Yes, we do. We actually have a couple of cast resin blanks that look like Damascus. And I don't know about you, but I've been around a Damascus knife or two. This looks kind of similar. It's kind of cool, like layers. And this is a micarta. I did a live turning of this last week with a CA finish. This is a black and white micarta that we have in the store. So those are pretty cool. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate that. Robert said good conversation. That's awesome. CA is a poor man's stabilizer. What CA is literally cheap insurance. I mean, a $10 bottle or $6 bottle of CA will last you a long time. And if you coat a blank every now and then, what does it cost you? Pennies. And it's totally worth it. Where's the camera for your close-ups? I've got one camera in front, one on the side, and one right above. We are talking about adding a fourth one that we can have mobile for like coming in to look at stuff. So we might do that too. We'll see how this goes. All right, keep naming colors. We're going to pick a color. Everybody who had that color, we're going to do a spin wheel for some Turner's Warehouse swag. David says Magic Juice is amazing. I'm glad to hear that because I have it on the way. Ooh, sorry, there's one comment I can't read. I don't know what language that is. The secret to wet sanding is water. That does sound like a Tim comment, and that was Tim. So, yes. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully it's worth it. We are doing these every Thursday at 4. So every Thursday at 4. You're going to want to watch next week. We haven't totally nailed down exactly what it's going to be, but I'm pretty sure old Tim Wadley is going to be either turning a little bowl or doing some skew work, which is pretty fun to watch. So you're going to want to see it next week. Also in the comments, if you have any requests for us to do any turning, casting, anything that we do here, because there will eventually be some casting, there'll be some knife stuff, there'll be more pen stuff, it's going to be fun. Please put a comment so we know, because we want to do what you guys are into. Right now we're kind of just doing stuff we like doing, so it makes it easy. All right, any last comments? Francisco, you take care as well. All right, guys, thanks again. Have a good night, and stay safe out there. Now I gotta hit the button. Wait, let me